Hey folks, and welcome to Method's testing station guide for testing station number 136, which is the fire testing station. As you can see here, I'm going to be running the static needle grade 3, experimental lightning gun grade 2. However, this dungeon is really not gear dependent, as you'll see later on. Having a higher grade melee weapon just helps to speed up the lock-in rooms, but it's really the ranged weapon that you're going to be using when it comes to the boss fight. You might have also seen there that I'm using the responsive planar suspensor belt. That is, I think, pretty much essential for the final boss fight, so make sure you have one of those equipped as well. As with our other testing station videos, I am going to be letting the video do most of the talking here, and just jumping in with additional commentary as I think it's valuable. This is going to be difficulty level 10. We're only faction level 10 right now, so that's the maximum we can do, but I think it's also a good level to be able to show the mechanics without it taking too long. When you get to around level 10, I find it a lot easier to use melee in these lock-in rooms because ranged mob will kill you pretty much instantly if your shield comes down. You might not have noticed this when you did this testing station before, but there is actually a little Easter egg here, if you want to call it that. There's a button you can press which explodes the crates in the next room. I think it's mostly just for fun, to be honest. I don't think it really makes much of an impact on the enemies there. In terms of the order for this room, I think it's easiest if you take out the unshielded ranged trooper mobs first, then the melee mobs, so then you can chunk down the heavy flamethrower mobs at the end. Apologies about the maintenance notice there. Hopefully it's not too annoying. If you want more information about the waves and just in general more detailed information about the testing station overall, then the written guide we have up on method.gg is good for that. This is mostly, I guess, a boss guide and to show you one build how you can do this with. Okay, finally we can get on to the boss fight. So before the boss fight here, I am going to switch out, or switch in exploit weakness, which is just going to allow us to do a little bit more damage on the boss, speed up the fight a little bit. Exploit weakness basically applies debuff to the target, where if you hit the mark that appears on the target with a ranged weapon, it does an extra 30% damage. So throughout the fight, you'll see there's a small, like, glistening white mark on the boss. That's what that is. You can see it on the knee there. So this fight is pretty simple in the first phase here. The boss is going to shoot these, I guess, fireballs that persist throughout all phases of the fight, and the pattern for these fireballs is going to be 3, 4, or 5 shots. So if you just listen out for the shots, if there's a pause after the 3rd or 4th shot, you know it's only going to be 3 or 4, otherwise there'll be a 5th. And that's all there is to the first phase. Just dodge the fireballs and chunk the boss down as she reloads each time. Okay, so the second phase introduces ads and another ability for the boss. So she's going to fly up into the air and she's going to shoot fireballs much faster. You can still dodge these just by running, you don't need to sprint. But you can sprint if you want to be extra safe. And I think it's between 16 to 20 fireballs that she shoots from the air. It's not always the same amount. It can be 18, it can be 20. So just wait until you hear a pause after the last one. I recommend dealing with the ad first in this phase before you turn back to the boss. So basically wait until she's finished one of her abilities, like now, turn to the ad and get a slow blade attack off. And then the rest of this phase again is just rinse and repeat. She's either going to do her 3 to 5 fireballs on the ground or her 16 to 20 fireballs in the sky. between each ability, just take a few shots out. As you can see, this is not super fast. I'm sure that there are methods out there that are much quicker than this, but hopefully this video will be good for showing you the boss abilities, how to deal with them, and the pattern of each ability as well. Okay, so phase 3 is probably the first difficult phase here. The boss is going to get another ability, the homing missile, and there's going to be another melee add. Individually, the homing missile is a pretty simple mechanic to deal with, but the ad chasing you definitely makes it a little bit harder. So every time in phase 3 the boss comes down from the flying fireball phase, she's going to throw a homing missile at you. Again, we want to deal with the ad here before we turn back to the boss, so we just need to be patient and wait for an opportunity between her abilities. So you can see she actually threw that missile before coming down from her aerial ability. Sometimes the boss does break the pattern, but 9 out of 10 times it's predictable. As you can see, obviously the way to deal with the homing missile is to shoot it out of the air. That's why playing with a rifle or some other semi-automatic weapon is a good way to deal with it. Once the ad's down, this phase is pretty simple. Again, rinse and repeat between her 3 abilities. Okay, now we're going to push into phase 4. This is actually kind of a fun phase. It introduces the requirement of an item that you probably never really had much use for before in the responsive planar suspensor belt. So the boss is going to gain a 4th ability, which is going to basically ignite the entire room, but only in the ground. So right now, if you jump into the air with your planar belt, then you can basically hover out of danger of the fire. Every time that the room is fully ignited, the boss is also going to follow up immediately with the homing missile. So you can just stay stationary in the air and wait for that missile to start coming at you and shoot it down. The rest of the fight is going to be the same as before, and you're just going to take your opportunity to damage the boss between her abilities. I use the experimental lightning gun in this pool. It's a great gun for damage, but you do have to be kind of careful if you're using it in this phase, because if you have really low power when this ability triggers, then you're actually going to come out of the sky before the fire has disappeared from the ground. So if you are going to use this gun, then just be careful there. That's also why I'm not being as aggressive in this phase, is just to make sure that when the boss does use that ability, I have enough power to sustain the airtime. that's it. That's the fight. So now that you know what the boss abilities do, and you know the pattern, you can play around with different weapons, different abilities, different skills to try and optimize the fight and speed it up there. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. In terms of loot, this is a pretty decent testing station for loot. You've obviously got the two new weapons in the Burning Blades and the Plastanium Pyrocket. You can see here we actually proc the Burning Blades, which is nice. Sold the last ones for 10 million Solaris, so that keeps the spice flowing. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
This is Imperial Testing Station number 136, and I am